Hey y'all, Jessie Punch here, and you're watching the Fans View podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Fans View podcast. Today's episode is special, guys. I've been tracking this woman down for nearly a year, but I know she's a very busy woman, and it's going to be very well worth it. Guys, I want to introduce you to my guest today, Mrs. Jessie Punch.
Hello, hi. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm glad we finally were able to work this out.
Of course. Hey, what do they say? Everything worth having is worth waiting for. So we had to deal with a couple months in between, but we got this done.
And honestly, going right into the new season, I think it's the best time to do this. So it worked out.
Perfection.
Yeah.
Perfection. I'm just going to jump right into it because I know your time is very valuable. What did you think about your past weekend at Bowman Gray? How was that with the clash and everything?
It was amazing. Truly, genuinely, like, not an ounce of my emotion and excitement towards it is fabricated. I am still, like, sifting through all of my videos from the weekend, just in absolute awe. I can't even explain to you how incredible the event was, both Saturday and Sunday.
Right.
The Bowman Gray Modifieds race on Saturday, and it felt like a lot of the local racing community was able to really come together on Saturday, and so to feel like how much everybody appreciated us being there was incredible. And then just the whole display on Sunday. I was working with the social media team, so I was fortunate enough to be down in the infield during driver intros. I don't think I really knew what I was getting into, but then you are walking down out of the exit to pit road down the front stretch, a very short front stretch, and
Right.
the lights are red, and I'm looking around, and the place is packed, and I was literally speechless. It was absolutely incredible. I could not get over it. And it was one of those things too where at that point it was like, you know what? The racing, it just has to be okay. It
Right.
just has to be like all right at this point, because the whole atmosphere and the spectacle was phenomenal. So, and I thought the racing was great too. So I really think that it worked out I'll say this, for as many times as NASCAR has wanted to try something new and has been so sadly like screwed over by the weather or just whatever it is, I was so happy to see this go the way that it did and the way that it was planned. And I really, really hope to see more.
It's a nice change of plans when, we actually get the race in on time. Mother Nature doesn't wreak havoc.
Yeah, that's new.
So, yeah. So I guess, did you enjoy this more? Because obviously you've covered the Clash in LA, and that was cool for what it was. But, from a personal point of view, do you enjoy it more being in your backyard, trying to almost getting back to the grassroots of NASCAR rather than, LA's a certain kind of place normally, let alone when you're trying to maybe foster NASCAR fans there.
Absolutely. And that's really what the difference was, I fully believe. And that made a difference in both how the atmosphere felt, but then in talking to the drivers throughout the weekend and seeing how their kind of excitement grew and their want to win this race continued to grow. And it all goes back to what you just said, the fans. We were racing in front of, almost 18,000 race fans, like Bowman Gray, Winston-Salem area race fans. Now in LA, we were doing a great thing because we were trying to play to a new market and trying to bring in new race fans, and we were still able to do that with the spectacle that we put on at Bowman Gray. But it goes back, like I said, exactly to what you just said there. I mean, the fans made the difference. The drivers wanted to put on a show for these people who have given so much to our sport.
Absolutely. And they absolutely did, obviously, with Chase picking up that win Sunday night. And just to put a bow on Bowman Gray, see what I did there.
Love it.
Do you think it's back and here to stay? I mean, obviously NASCAR isn't going to come out tomorrow and say we're going to have a cup points race, a points paying race next year. But do you kind of do you see down the road maybe we run an Xfinity race there, then maybe we run the All Star race there again? What do you think is in tow for Bowman Gray?
Now, I can't imagine we wouldn't see more from Bowman Gray. I mean, it went
Yeah,
so well. How could we not? And you look at some of the other things that we're doing this year by bringing back Rockingham and trying to really start to play to this market in this area and revitalizing these short tracks that used to bring so much to the schedule. I think that we're starting to think about where we travel to a little differently. And for a while, and again, I will preface all this by saying no one listens to me. I have no say in anything that's going on. So definitely don't take my word for anything. But
say it ain't so.
I know you guys would be surprised to hear that, but no, they don't give a care what I have to say about the schedule. But for so many years, we just fell into such routine that it's so refreshing to see the change ups that we're seeing this year. And even things like putting Mexico on the schedule. Like, it's amazing to me that in the same year, we're watching Cup cars at Bowman Gray, and in a couple months, we're going down to Mexico to race. I can't wrap my brain around it. So, Jarrett, to go back to your original question, absolutely. I cannot imagine that we wouldn't see more from Bowman Gray. And I think they're gonna, I mean, they only want to make it bigger and better from here. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, I think just like I said to wrap it up, I think North Wilkesboro is a perfect example of maybe where NASCAR's brain's at. You ease
Yes.
into it, and before long, here we are.
Absolutely.
I want to jump back in. We're going to Quentin Tarantino this thing. Obviously, you grew up in motorsports, your father playing such an integral role of, being in the community, being a member of a broadcast team, being just involved in NASCAR. Was motorsports always something you knew that's where you were headed?
Definitely not. I actually graduated from Clemson, which go Tigers, love your shirt. I didn't even say
Let's
anything
go.
to you when we first started talking because I was like, I need to wait till we're on the podcast to like really give this one. But made me very happy to hop on this video call and see some Clemson orange. But when I graduated from Clemson, I started working in college athletics. So I moved out to Denver, Colorado, and I worked for a very small athletic conference out there called the Western Athletic Conference, the WAC. So being out there, I covered a little bit of everything. I mean, truly everything from swimming and diving to tennis to D1 basketball. It was quite an array. But in addition to that, having grown up also in East Tennessee, around SEC football and then going to Clemson. Like, I think there was always part of me that thought I would want to work in the football side of things. My dad worked in that realm as well. And that's not to say that I don't see myself at some point in the future being able to, take on some more sports, because given the opportunities I've had in the past, I've been able to see myself doing, a lot of really all different kinds of sports. But the way that it kind of just led me back to NASCAR was supernatural. I didn't force it. I didn't plan that. It just worked out that way. And this will be my 8th season with them. And I am so grateful that it did, because I just absolutely love it. And right now, I don't have any plan to try to leave NASCAR altogether. I will continue to have a presence in the sport.
I love that. And you mentioned you graduated Clemson in 2016?
Yes, yeah.
Look at that. I'm telling you, the research department
I know.
is
Wow.
on it.
You must have a really smart
So
team over there.
I'm telling you, they're all getting raises after this. So you graduate Clemson 2016 with a degree in communications, specifically. Hold on a minute. Let me check with my guy. You specialized in sports media with a minor in Spanish, perhaps.
That's correct. Correct.
I'm telling you,
Yes.
it's my crack team over here. No, but obviously, sports media was always on your radar. So I guess it kind of goes back to the question I asked before. Was it always going to be NASCAR media, or was it always going to be sports media that you had a passion for?
Yeah, it was always going to be sports media for sure. And quite honestly, I think where my passion really sat in was just storytelling. Now, I think the stories that you can tell in sports are what really resonate with me, because that's not to say you can't do storytelling in other styles of media. In even local news, for example, is a huge that's the whole point of local news is storytelling. But having grown up an athlete myself, having grown up with brothers and with my dad, just this idea of the ambition, the passion, the dedication that athletes put into their lives, and then the way that it's just, sports is just different. I don't have to tell you guys that. Even if you're listening to this
Right.
podcast, I don't have to tell you that. And NASCAR is different, like sports is different, and then NASCAR in itself is like just the kind of anomaly in it all. So I lay all that out to say storytelling was really at the basis of what I wanted to do, which of course inadvertently led me to sports, which then of course inadvertently led me to one of the wildest, professional leagues full of stories, NASCAR. So no, wasn't always the goal, but in a way it just kind of naturally brought me back to the sport.
Right. Absolutely. Well, on a non-racing note, we're talking about your Tiger fandom. Have you recovered yet? It's what, 2025 now. Have you recovered from the fact that you had to go to school when Cole Stout was our quarterback?
Oh, that's tough. You know what? I am not going to get too far down the rabbit hole here. But when I was at Clemson, we were all cheering very loudly for Deshaun Watson, which is something we
Mm-hmm.
will no longer be doing. I have a
Mm-hmm.
closet with a lot of Deshaun Watson jerseys in it that are sadly, I shouldn't say sadly,
Preach, sister.
they're collecting dust. Sadly for my wallet, really, they're collecting
Yeah.
dust. And then I was also there in talking about quarterbacks, the weird era of Chad Kelly for a little while too. And I don't know if you
Swag Kelly.
Swag Kelly. He was in
Man.
full Swag Kelly mode when he was there with us. Now he wasn't, doing anything to win us football games. He was definitely like the backup quarterback. But quite the array of characters leading
And
the
it's got to
Tigers while I was there. But you know
and
what?
it has to be emotionally jarring too to know that we won the national title the minute you graduated.
Yeah, so I will never forget being a senior and standing in one of the bars in downtown Clemson, which downtown Clemson is not big. There were only a few bars, so everyone and their mother was crammed in those bars, watching us play
Mm.
Alabama out in Phoenix, and we lost that game. And the walk home from downtown Clemson had never been longer or colder in my life than after that game. But I was thankfully fortunate enough to go then watch the Tigers win the following year in Tampa. So it healed everything that day broke inside of me. But you're absolutely right. It has been quite an up and down couple years for the Tigers, man. I am trying not to get too emotionally invested, because also with the way college football's going, it's everything's just a little wild. And we've got Dabo leading the charge, so who knows really where we're
Yeah.
going. I love that
And
man.
hey, Dabo's proving all the haters wrong. He's showing people he can use the portal. Dabo's coming up.
We do things a little
Do you
different over there in Clemson.
That's right. That's right. We grow them special in those hills, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Tiger or Tigers of all time?
Ooh,
Almost your Mount Rushmore. You don't have to give me four unless you have four.
that's a good question, because one immediately came to mind, to be honest, and that's Christian Wilkins. I just loved him. He was incredible. He was there the 3 of the years that I was there, and I will never forget. Then after we won that national championship, after I'd graduated, came back to Clemson for the parade, for like the celebration parade. And Christian is always just such a character, but he was on the float with Trevor and everybody else, and he has got just boxes of Krispy Kreme donuts, and he is tossing Krispy Kreme donuts into the crowd like it's bees at Mardi Gras. And I was just like, how can you not love this man? Now, of course, he's eating them. Like, it's like one for you, one for Christian, one for you, one for Christian. I mean, it was the funniest thing, but like that man has such personality. And then getting to watch him go down and play for the Dolphins, he was just a fun one to really keep up with there.
Absolutely. Christian is definitely, I would say, beloved in Clemson and will stay that way for the foreseeable future.
For sure.
Getting back to racing, you graduate from Tiger Town with your communications degree. What's the plan? What's your first move out of college?
Okay. It's funny you asked this. I was talking to I went back to my high school and spoke to their media class, which I've never felt older in my life. I never thought that like such an honor to have someone ask me to come back and speak at a high school would just make me feel so ancient. But it really was an honor. And I did get an opportunity to tell them though that when I graduated from Clemson, I didn't have a job lined up. And now that wasn't for lack of trying, of course. I mean, I had done internships all 4 years of school, and I'd worked while I'm at Clemson, and I was sending out resumes left and right. But I didn't have anything lined up. And I can remember graduating and feeling like it was the end of the world. And me being like, well, that's it. I don't have a career in sports. It's over. Of course, like I didn't have that quitting mindset, but it's hard to keep yourself confident and positive when you're coming out of college and you see some people around you like doing taking on their own careers. So like I said earlier, I did take on some more obscure of sports. By obscure, I guess I should say like the Olympic sports. When I first graduated
Yeah.
and was working at the WAC, I had like swimming and diving, I had tennis, I had volleyball was my first live broadcast I ever did, and I've never played a lick of volleyball in my life. And so I was like, I gotta learn this sport and I gotta learn how to do a live broadcast. So we will figure this out together, kind of thing. I go back and look at how much I've grown since that job, and it's truly amazing. But yeah, first roll out of college, going to the WAC, calling some volleyball, some track and field here and there. That was the first move, and it was an interesting one, but I'm thankful for it.
I love that. I can just envision you now cutting your teeth at a Boise State game, Boise State volleyball.
Yep. Oh
Beautiful.
yeah. I
So
learned
I
about a lot of different sports working there. Yeah.
I can only imagine. So how do you end up? Obviously, you're out there, calling the swimming and rowing and such, in the WAC. How do you end up with NASCAR? How does that transition happen?
So I knew at the time that I wanted to get to the Charlotte area. And even if it wasn't well, I should back up. I knew at the time that I wanted to get back to closer to the southeast. My family's all in East Tennessee, and Denver, where I was living, is so beautiful, but it's just kind of far. And I'd done it for a year and a half. My family was back here. My boyfriend at the time was back here. So I was like trying to get back closer to family and closer to him. Charlotte being the ultimate goal. But I applied all over the place. I mean, I didn't just apply to jobs in Charlotte. I applied to jobs all over the Southeast. And finally, it just worked out with NASCAR. It wasn't even like one of those situations where I got my sights set on NASCAR and said, okay, I'm just going to go all in. Like NASCAR was one of so many resumes that I
Right.
sent out and applied for. Which is then, I say that because it makes it, I think, even more special when I think about how confident I am in where I'm at right now and how happy I am and where I'm supposed to be, and how it's just truly a story about timing and letting it happen the way it's supposed to happen, because I'm so grateful that I got here.
I love that so much, and your confidence definitely shows today in your work.
Thank you.
What do you say? Because I'm sure you face it. Because let's just call a spade a spade. People suck for the
Oh,
most
yeah. Oh,
part.
I hate people.
So I know you hear it. She's only in the position she's in, dot, 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 because her daddy got her there, because she's pretty, or whatever it may be. How do you deal with, I don't want to say the haters because that's so cliche, but how do you deal with people with that negative mindset that you just got here, let's just say because of your dad or whatever it is,
Hmm.
but not because of your hard work?
Yeah. Well, what you just said, because of whatever reason it may be and not because of my hard work, that's kind of the first layer of it, is just knowing that I've had to work my ass off to get here. I've had to work my ass off to be here, and then just to stay here, and then to grow within this whole entire chaotic world and industry. And I'm the only one that knows how it felt to work a West Coast ARCA West race and then hop on a red eye and fly back to cover whatever it is. Or like, I'm the only one that knows like how exhausted I was when I was like hauling my shit through the airport. Sorry, mom, I've cussed enough times on this podcast. I'll try to tone it down from here. Funny story, side note, when I spoke to those high schoolers, my mom was there because she works there. And when I left the classroom, I said, how'd I do? I was like, was it okay? And she goes, oh yeah, it was great. And you only cussed 3 times. I said, thanks, mom. So I didn't know we were counting, but anyways. Yes, yeah. So I don't even know. I'm the only one. I'm the only one that knows how hard I've had to work. And at the end of the day, like, I just have to kind of rest on that in knowing that everyone's gonna have an opinion. Because at the same time, if I'd sat on my if I'd sat on my
Ooh, look
butt,
at you.
you right that, and not done all that hard work, somebody's still gonna tweet at me and say that Missy over here should have my job, or that I only have my job because of my dad. I had someone tell me this week that I only have a podcast because of my dad. And now I don't really respond to the comments because I just don't, whatever. But it did make me laugh when I saw somebody else respond and they were like, anybody can make a podcast, right? Like, they were
Right
like,
here.
hey, dude, like, you quite literally can just kind of like sign up for one. So
That's it.
you got to just take the silliness out of it in that regard. But and I also know too, not to make this a woe is me kind of deal, but in just giving the slightest bit of insight, the concept of coming into the sport, especially of NASCAR, with the last name that I have, brings a lot of preconceived expectations, whether people realize it or not. Because just by seeing Punch, you've watched 30 plus years of my dad, who is, I mean, just a phenomenal storyteller. I
Yes.
am so proud of my dad. I am my dad's number one fan. So I can't even get into it right now. But truly, you've watched him do what he's done for so many years. And so your brain says, all right, well, what do you have to offer?
Right.
And then there are some people that say that out loud, that just straight up say, like, look, your dad was great and you're not your dad. And I have to be okay with that, because there's also going to be somebody else that says, you're not your dad and I really love what you bring. So I just have to weed through what's of merit. Most of it's not. And lean and rest on knowing the things that I've had to do to get here and just block it out.
I love that because it goes back to kind of your central thesis of this is confidence.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have the confidence to know you're a badass, you're good at what you do, you're great at what you do, and the rest of them can suck it if they don't like it. Because
Love it.
I
You heard
once
it here
I
first.
heard a quote because I do interview wrestlers and MMA fighters and stuff as well on the show. And Teal Piper, who's the daughter of Roddy Piper, like a Hall of Fame wrestler, she gave me a quote back in June that has stuck with me. She says, when you're the daughter in her case, or in your case, when you're the daughter of someone who did what you do at such a high level, the door opens twice as fast, but it also slams shut twice as fast. So it's kind of that double-edged sword,
Mm-hmm.
of I can only imagine what you deal with. What's going on, guys? Jared here. Obviously, I'm like you. I hate being interrupted during my videos, so I'm just going to make this real quick. If you're watching this, you're already on my YouTube. Please drop a like, drop a comment, hit the subscribe button. It would mean the world to me, and it's going to cost you absolutely nothing. If you're in a following mood after that, head on over to Instagram at thefansview pod. Drop a follow right there, too. Again, costs you nothing. Means the absolute world to me, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to shut up now. Well, not really, but I'm going to send you back to the interview. But moving on to something more positive, what are you doing these days now in 2025? What is your position with NASCAR? Obviously, we always see you on socials. I've seen you at the races. What do you do?
I do a little bit of everything, so that's kind of a hard question to answer. I struggle with that myself when I have to tell people what I do. And there's a lot changing right now in the landscape of NASCAR, with the media partners changing, the broadcast partners changing. So right now I do social media. I work with all of the tracks, different social media accounts. So I kind of work with them in helping to promote different things that they have going on, any messaging that they have. So if they have to tell the fans that they're not allowed to bring their cooler full of beer into the racetrack, I have to be the person that goes on social media and tells you that you're not allowed to bring your beer into the racetrack. But
Godspeed.
I know, right? Don't shoot the messenger, you guys. But no, I love that job. I get to do a little bit of everything with that job, from just, sponsors and fun videos and all that. But then I still do the modifieds. I cover the modifieds on Flow Racing. I'm on pit road with them. I'll actually be teaming back up with them this weekend at New Smyrna. So I'm really excited to get that season started. And then I also do some reporting for NASCAR.com. So with me mentioning earlier so much change in the media partners this year, I think a lot of that's going to look different. So I'm kind of I do NASCAR media. That's all I can really just like generally say. But Rolling with the Punches, my podcast, is my one true love. It is my baby. It is my passion project. It is the project that I work on with my two best friends. We do it out of love for storytelling and out of love for just wanting to create. And the three of us came together and are like, look, we love to create and we can't just be creative at work. We've got to find something to do that we can pour into for ourselves. And that's how this started, and it's going for now. So Rolling with the Punches is my love.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I was going. That was the next topic we were going to touch. So I'm happy to hear. You have an outlet of enjoying yourself and enjoying motorsports because obviously that grind can get exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
So Jesse, on this show, I love to have a little segment called the Fan's Eye View, where I'm going to show you and the fans some pictures, and we just want to hear the story behind the picture.
Okay.
So if you give me just a second. We're gonna ease you into this.
Oh, no, okay.
Go with this
You
one.
know, I'm a picture loving girl, so you had a lot to choose from.
Oh yeah.
Okay, you want the story
How about
behind
this lady?
this one?
I want the story behind this one right here. This
So
Canadian
this
tuxedo
is
situation.
Darlington in the fall this past year. This is when I was doing social media for Darlington down on the track. And I love this picture because this is honestly one of my favorite parts of my job is getting to be at the racetrack before big race weekends like Southern 500 weekend. I can remember it when we went to Iowa. Like I usually get there the earliest that anybody gets there in the weekend at 8 a.m. because we're shooting content that we need to distribute for the rest of the weekend. So we got to get it done early. But there is just something about being at a racetrack or like that, being on the front stretch when it's quiet, but you know that it's coming and you look around and it's quiet, but you see the people in the stands like setting up and getting things ready, and there's slowly cars are coming in and you're like, okay, like I can feel it coming. That is one of my favorite feelings and one of my favorite parts of my job. So that's what that picture is. It's me shooting some social content before the Southern 500, taking it all in.
I love it. We're gonna get progressively harder.
Oh no.
This one I think you might enjoy though as well. This is a wholesome one.
Oh, we love that. Okay. Well, yes, I was just talking about my dad, my favorite broadcaster. No, I love this picture because it reminds me of just such an awesome day. That was season 4 or 5, I believe, finale of the Pace Lap, which is a show that I did for NASCAR for like 6 seasons, I guess. It was for NASCAR and for Mav TV, but this specific episode, we had my dad come in and he co-hosted it with me, and we shot it at Stewart Haas. And our third co-host was Tony Stewart. So Tony not pictured in this photo because this was us at rehearsal before we got going, but it was just the coolest thing to sit down. Anytime I get to work with my dad is I can't even describe it. It's just such an honor, and it's just really special. Because it's like it's getting to work with your favorite broadcaster, but also for me, it's getting to have these life experiences with my dad that, not to get too much on a side tangent here, but going back to the grind of working in sports, so much of what you sign up for when you take a job in this industry is having to miss a lot of things. And my dad had to miss a lot of things that were important to me growing up. And I don't have any resentment towards that. And I never did at the time because I understood why he missed things. But it makes getting to do things like this now as an adult, even if it is for work,
Yeah.
it really makes it just that much more special. Really resonates with me. And this is one of those days, getting to do it with dad and Smoke, of course. That was just incredible. I just wanted to sit back and listen to them talk.
I
I
can
was like,
only
take it away,
imagine.
boys.
Yeah, right. All right, here we go. We're gonna get you on this last one. I can feel it. As soon as I can get it. Here we go. All right, you're gonna love this one. I can feel it. You're gonna love it.
I know, I can feel it. I can feel it growing. It's like I was just talking about. I can feel something big's coming.
Here we go.
I'm
There it
I'm
is.
unfamiliar with her. I don't know who that is.
Who's that lady? She has the same name as you. It's crazy.
It's a really common name, you know. I
You
can't
know,
even pull that one. I can't
yeah.
even pull that card. No. Wow, this is I honestly need to kind of look at this a little closer. July 16th, 2014. Thank you for putting the having grabbing a screenshot with the date because
Yeah, oh
then
yeah.
I can actually prove that this was so long ago. No, okay. Actually, you really didn't even need the date to prove how long ago this was. You just needed to look at the statement necklace that I'm wearing for you to know that that was no doubt 2014. I mean, good lord. Wow. Okay, so this is my sophomore year after college. So in between my sophomore and junior year, I lived in Hilton Head and I worked for the local Hilton Head news station. And you thought that learning to cover swimming and diving or, the long jump was wild. I working at WHHI or interning, I should say, at WHHI. I covered everything from when they reseeded the golf courses to
Mm.
the Bluffton watermelon eating contest.
Oh my
I
goodness.
mean, it was the most fun summer. It was just funny looking back on it. It kind of gave me like Parks and Rec vibes, like just like really
Yeah.
local, you know, just community. So this Oh gosh, I don't even remember what exactly this was or what I'm talking about. But yeah, a lot of green screens, as you can tell, a lot of excitement and hope in that little girl.
That's
Goodness.
baby Jessie there. 11 years ago. Can you believe that?
No, I told you I'm ancient. I told you that.
I don't know. I don't
Believe
know
me.
about that. I don't know just about that. But yeah, funny story. Beaufort, that is about 30 minutes away from me. This is my neck of the woods.
Oh no way.
Yep, it is.
That's so crazy. Small, small world.
I'm telling you, even smaller town. That's amazing that you ended up in Hilton Head of all places.
I love Hilton Head. We went there as a family growing up, so that was kind of another one of those cool. I wanted to
Yeah.
just be able to go kind of take in a place that meant so much to my family.
Well, Jessie, I'm going to hit you with some rapid fire here because I know you have some bags to pack because you got a little trip to make tomorrow, I believe.
Just a little one. All
So I'm
right,
going to
bring it
hit
on
you with
me.
some rapid fire. Where are your favorite tracks to cover, whether it be because of the layout of the track or just the racing, whatever it might be?
Okay, favorite track to cover. I'm gonna say
Yes.
Phoenix because I love Phoenix for so many reasons. Usually, if we're in Phoenix, it's championship weekend. So obviously there's so much excitement around that. Or it's early enough in the season that nobody's really too pissed off yet. So there's still a lot of excitement and promise until you know what? We're just getting in the West Coast swing, it's great.
Yeah.
So I love that about it, timing wise. But on top of that, Phoenix is just beautiful. The racetrack itself is fairly new. They renovated a lot of it in the last, like, what, 5 to 7 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Not even that long, I guess. I don't know. Recently. So it's just gorgeous. And they really kept the fans in mind when they were laying that out. So the facilities, the atmosphere, the whole weekend is just. They put so much thought into making it cohesive and making it fun for fans, which in turn makes it fun for us. Because if the fans are having fun, and when we walk through the concourse and we're working, if y'all are like listening to the live music and you guys are enjoying yourselves, then like it makes it just a better weekend for us. So I love that about Phoenix. And then the obvious of it all is there is not a bad seat in the house at Phoenix, including getting to climb the hillside from Monument Hill, Rattlesnake Hill, whatever you want to call it out there. Just the most incredible views. I mean, this racetrack is literally tucked between canyons in the Arizona desert. Like, I can't, it is just absolutely beautiful. So, Phoenix, as far as places I love to cover, I'm going to go with Phoenix.
How about a racetrack that you just enjoy watching the race?
Ah, okay.
Well, yeah, on the spot.
I'm going to say I'm gonna say Darlington, which is kind of surprising because you really can't talk much at Darlington race. Oh shoot, no, I take it back. No, I don't know. Now I'm questioning myself. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna give you an answer, like my answer, like my one, and then I'm gonna give you like a one A,
Okay.
one A. Okay,
Okay. I'm gonna let you have it.
but I'm gonna do them backwards. So no
Okay.
respect to Darlington, but what I was gonna say about Darlington was I have so many just great memories of like pulling our golf cart over in the middle of the Southern 500 over to like turn 4. You just, I mean, it's so loud. You can't talk. You got your earbuds in or your in-ear molds listening to the race. Usually at that point in the weekend, like we're kind of wrapping up or whatever it may be. So you're eating Bojangles because that's what you have to eat at Darlington. And you're
Yep.
just like
That's
sitting
it.
in turn 4, like you can't talk to people if you wanted to, and you just get to watch the race, and it's 500. It's a really good feeling. I kind of like that, just like hum of sitting
Yeah.
in Darlington. But the answer that really excited me is Bristol because
Yes, that a girl.
to
Okay.
stand in between turns 1 and 2 right there where it says the last great Coliseum, like in the infield, and have the cars quite literally stacked on top of each other where you are seeing the numbers on the hood as they fly by. There is nothing like that. There is
Yes.
truly nothing like that.
That is the correct answer.
Okay, good.
Always.
Sorry. Whew, it took me a minute to get there, but I got there. I just show my work, you know?
I was yeah, that's it. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I was able to attend my first I think it was the Food City 500. It was a night race. It was the night that Denny hit us with who'd you just beat all your favorite drivers. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
when he gave us that line, that was
Yeah.
my first and only Bristol experience. So
No way.
since then I've had to tell everybody you have to go to Bristol. It's so everybody says it, but you have to go to Bristol.
It is. It's a
It's
bucket list thing. Yeah.
yeah. Another quick one I'm gonna hit you with. 500 pick. I'm just gonna hit you with it. Who's your 500 pick?
Ooh, okay. I'm trying to decide how bold I want to be here. Like, do I want to be like logical? And do I want to say, okay, do I want to take this route and be like, my 500 pick is Chase Elliott because he won the Clash and it would be really cool to see him go on to win the 500. And we haven't seen that in a couple years. And, you know, da da da. And Bill did it and da da da. Like, that's,
We're gonna
you
throw
know,
that out.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
we know
that's
not gonna
more
happen.
of a logical answer.
Right.
But you know
And that's
what?
why we need to
Like,
throw it out.
yeah, like there's I think, gosh, I really am trying to figure out how bold I'm gonna be here. So I'll be real, like it's tough because it's hard to watch what we saw at the Clash and then like think about what some of these guys are gonna do at the 500 because
Yeah.
obviously, I mean, you know, apples and freaking fruitcake, not even the same thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like, and then there's been so many changes in rides this year, like major changes that I don't really know like what we're gonna see out of some of these guys. So it's weird because there's part of my brain that's like, I mean, honestly, a guy like a Justin Haley is a fabulous like super speedway
Yes.
racer. He's in great equipment now. Now I know he was not having a good time at the Clash, and I believe he like made a point to say it on the radio. But he knows what he's doing at those drafting tracks. So he's one to look at. But then, kind of on the total opposite realm, like the 21 of Josh Berry was just putting on such a show at the Coliseum. Now, they're not notably super speedway guys. And Josh obviously was in his element at Bowman Gray, I should say.
Right.
And so that's kind of like the opposite, the thought process there. But going to Daytona, like anything could happen. And the fact that Josh may be running 20th coming to the end of the race is sometimes works in your favor. Like you just really
Ask
never
Harrison
know.
Burton. Ask him if the
Harrison
21
Burton
can win on a
effect.
super
Exactly.
speedway.
Yeah, so I don't know. I gave you a kind of a jumbled answer there, but I usually like to pick more of an obscure pick or an underdog, if you will.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's see what else I have for you here. Oh, it almost escaped me. More important than the 500 pick, I think. Give me your rookie of the year for the Xfinity series. That's a deep cut.
Okay, who are my Xfinity rookies? Oh my gosh! Oh, you've got
Man.
okay. Oh geez, this is about to be like the rookie of the year battle.
Yeah, I'll give you the top 8 or so. You got Daniel Dye, Christian
Yeah.
Eckes, Taylor Gray, Quapple, Sanchez, Swalich, Zilich. I mean, it's a murderer's row.
It's oh my god. Okay, so like it's so hard to bet anything against Connor Zelich because he quite literally has like the best average of any kid in the car ever. It
Yes,
feels like, I don't know, that's extreme, but truly, every time I feel like he gets in the car, he learns so quickly, and you see that from him. Now I know Quapple's going to be something to work with here, or something to keep an eye on, I should say, knowing that he's been like, really coming up through this series and developing with Junior and seeing what he's been able to do over on the Cars Tour. Taylor Gray is another one that I think is going to be one to watch, because the only reason that he really stood out to me, and I didn't just say, Connor Zilic, is because Taylor seems to have had so much experience. I do feel like Taylor's really been cutting his teeth coming up through ARCA regional, and then big ARCA, and then national ARCA, I should say, and then trucks, and then you've really seen him growing and developing. So I have to wonder if kind of that experience will help him this year. So gosh, like I said, it's hard to bet against Connor Zillage. So I mean, he's got to be my pick, but Taylor Gray, man, like I do think that he could do some stuff this year, and what Tricon's got going over there is just really cool nonetheless. That's just a cool looking team these days.
I love that answer. And so I'm going to let you out of here on this, but I can't let you out before asking the question I love to ask every guest last, because I feel like nothing gets to know them better than this question. You know, at this stage of your life and your career, what does the term success mean to you?
That is such a good question, Jarrett. Oh my gosh. So, if I'm going to be completely transparent with you, this is probably going to be a little more emotion driven
Mm-hmm.
than logical, but follow me here. It's funny because I probably would have had a very different answer for you to that question, even just this time last year, for sure 2 years ago, because I one of the biggest things that I have really had to learn about this industry is how deliberate you have to be about taking care of yourself and your mental health and schedule, and really prioritizing all of that, and not just when I say mental health, I guess I really mean like the things that fulfill you, like time with your family, and time with my dog, and time to just like go on a walk. And I'll already say that I had struggled with my mental health for a lot of years. I'm not private about that. I talk about that publicly often because I'm very, very passionate about mental health education. But through all of that, I kind of got to a point last year where I took on a whole new viewpoint on things. Some stuff had happened in my life, and I was the most devoted to therapy than I'd ever been. It was funny how those two things kind of worked, right? Like I was the most in
Yeah.
therapy I've ever been, and it was the most I was going to ever, need it in my life. And the combination of those two things really gave me a year of putting so much intent and being so intentional about the things that I did. So when you ask me about success, this year to me, success would be being able to love my job in such a genuine way that I get to show up and truly be me, because I have to show up and be Jessie either way.
Yeah.
I don't get to show up. It's who I am. So the ability to do that, and that to be me and me feel that way is huge. And the ability to do that with a balance of being fulfilled through my family and getting to make that time with them, that would be successful for me. That's how I would be able to look back at this season and think, okay, I worked my butt off, and I also filled my cup in between with the people that I love and gave back to them. That to me is what would be a successful year.
We're going out on that note because that's such a beautiful answer. I love that.
Thanks.
I knew you would deliver. Jesse, I can't thank you enough, sincerely, from the bottom of my heart. I'm so happy that we finally got to do this.
Me too.
I really hope I can have you back on again, maybe around All-Star break or something. I know your schedule gets insane once the season gets going.
It does, but this was awesome, and I would love to join you again. And like I told you before, your patience is so appreciated because I knew that I wanted to catch up with you. I just knew it would take time. And so I truly, Jared, thank you for waiting. It was worth the wait. I had so much fun talking to you.
Absolutely. It was so much fun. I could sit here and talk to you for another 2 hours.
Same. I know.
We barely got into the nuts and bolts of NASCAR. Next time, we're going to talk NASCAR.
Yep, if I didn't have some bags to pack, like we would really delve into what I think we're gonna see this year. But that's for next time.
Absolutely, yep. Yes. All-Star break, people. You heard it here. Round All-Star. We're gonna get Jessie back on here, and we're gonna talk some cars going around in circles.
Sounds good.
Jessie, what are your socials? Where can people get a hold of you? Where can they reach out to you?
So you can find me on Instagram at its_J_Punch. If you search J Punch, I'll pop up. But be sure to follow us on Instagram on my Rollin page as well. That's rollin.punches. And then from there, that's where you can find the YouTube and all that good stuff. I'm on Twitter too, but I mean, look, if you can't tell by now, like I quite literally haven't logged in ages. So yeah. I'm kind of scared at this point. Like, you know, when it's like you haven't checked your email after a long weekend and you're like, I don't even want to look at it at this point. It's so far gone.
It's a dumpster fire anyway. Don't bother. Don't bother. No, but we love you here at the Fans View. Obviously, this is pro Jessie Punch podcast. Once you guys are done listening to this, go check Jessie out. Go listen to Rollin. Support her. Give her all the love. She deserves it. Again, Jessie, like I said, thank you so much. You're so wonderful for spending your time with us tonight. Guys, that's going to do it. That's going to do it for this week, this episode of the Fans View podcast. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Consider subscribing. And most importantly, don't forget, call your mom. See you guys next time.
The Fan View podcast, and if you're here and you're not subscribed, hello, what are you doing? Like, subscribe, thumbs up, all those things, 5 stars, everything you do when you have a favorite podcast. Fans View podcast, make sure you're listening. Join the family.